Hey guys, Talks of Fruits and Vegetables here with
Dex, and this is week 3 of our Scooby-Doo Halloween monthly marathon thing. And for this week, we're going to be talking about Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, which came out in 2000 and is the third installment of these direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies. This one is actually, I believe, the first production that just Warner Brothers Animation, their department, did. Even though Hanna-Barbera gets a ending credit logo and shout out. So, thoughts on the animation on this one?
it's a lot different.
It's not like a ton different. It's
It doesn't.
again,
it
it's a
doesn't
little
look-
darker. We watched this one wholly on VHS because I don't think we've actually watched this one since we were kids. So we're basing a lot of this off the memory of what we can recall from the original. So most of this is going to be us trying to summarize from like what little fragments we have of this movie. But I remember liking it.
It was interesting.
I remember liking most Scooby-Doo things.
This one's just.
This one was just like, it was at the point in time where we weren't getting as many VHS movies, so we didn't end up getting this one. It actually belonged to a friend of ours, and I think we borrowed it, and we watched it like 3 times and then gave it back.
Yeah, and I think 3 times is enough.
But we were little. We were like, let's see, that was 2000, so I would have been
7.
I would have been like 9.
Yeah.
So we were kids when we saw this. So we do have good memories of it, though. We do, because we're pretty spot on when it comes to remembering things. But for the animation, I thought it was, pretty standard. It wasn't fantastic. I didn't think it was like on par with Zombie Island or Witch's Ghost.
Well, yeah, it went down. It does not.
Not like down
look
in quality. It's just the style was a little different. There was a lot less focus on like shading and depth.
I found there was a quality wasn't as
Like it didn't feel like it was as big budget as the previous 2, but it was still good. Like
which
it was
makes
still
no sense because Warner Brothers has
Warner Brothers
much
alone
money.
was working on it, which was different than before when they had like it was like a partner project and it was also outsourced partially. So I'm guessing that they weren't making as much off of it as they had anticipated, but they have continued to make these yearly Scooby-Doo movies, so who knows. For the voice cast for this one's actually pretty much the same for the gang. You got Scott Innes, Mary Kay Bergman, Frank Welker, and B.J. Ward, all reprising their roles.
Didn't they have to get a different Daphne voice actress?
For the next one they did, because I think this was the last one where Mary Kay Bergman voiced Daphne, because she passed away in like late 1999. And I think the movie's dedicated to her. I think they have a dedication to her, which is really nice. So, kind of sad. She was like the Daphne we heard over and over again watching the first 2 movies, and
Mark
this
Hamill's in
one
this one?
yeah. For other notable voices, I think there's Jeff Glenn Bennett as Lester, Jennifer Hale as Dottie, and I think Mark Hamill is Steve. He's like the crazy guy that lives in the shack that paints.
So he's basically reprising. What's his name?
No, it's not like Snakebite.
Yeah, he's literally just Snakebite again.
But he seems to really like being in these Scooby-Doo movies. And then I think there's Candy Milo for both Crystal and Amber, who are characters we'll get into later on.
So voice actors about the same quality.
Yeah, I thought they always do pretty good. I never really have any complaints about the acting in these movies. I think they're always pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not ever like, oh, this was terrible. I think it's pretty, standard. Not spectacular, but,
Excuse me.
Oh, bless your soul, child. Oh, someone's got the sniffles.
No, I didn't take my
The
medication.
first day of fall, and you have the sniffles.
No, I just
Didn't take your
my
allergy medication, and little Mrs. Cat is driving your nose nuts.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we digress. The music.
Generic.
Yeah. There was nothing super standout in this soundtrack. I think, from what I can remember, there's like one kind of sappy love song that's kind of done in like a 60s style or 70s style. There's another cover of the theme song, and then just, standard music. I always feel like I'm doing the bulk of the talking here.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
this is the one. It's like
The music was meh. The voice acting was good. Animation was okay. Story was like surprisingly busy for one of these movies. Like, I think it has what your average, like, 80-minute runtime or something like that, and it has so much going on, and yet it doesn't feel like a lot is going on.
Well, it ends and you're just like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, so you can take it off. How does the movie start?
The gang is traveling to Roswell, New Mexico.
That's right. And then what happens?
They're going during a sandstorm. They get lost.
They do, and they end up where, buddy?
On government property.
Yeah.
I guess technically like Area 51.
That's probably what it's meant to be. Obviously, it's got aliens.
They see a low-flying saucer crash.
Yeah, and it causes them to like lose control of the van, and like they just end up like at this small town.
Yeah. Then go a little bit. I think Scooby and Shaggy come across a jackalope.
Yeah, they like that was one of the things I most remember as a kid was the jackalope, because I was like, what the hell?
Because it eats their last Scooby snack.
It does,
and they end up chasing it into the cave, and there's like
aliens in the cave. And then like they run to the diner where everyone else is, and they're like panicked and yelling about how they saw these aliens. And then there's this waitress there, Dottie, and she's like, oh, there aren't any aliens, but there are lights and shit in the sky. And then, like, while they're there, this dude, Lester, we said is voiced by Mark Hamill, who really seems to just enjoy Scooby-Doo movies, tells them that they're like, he's like, oh, I got pictures of the aliens. And he, like, takes them to his, like, little shack. You remember his, like, his little shack? And, like, they're not even pictures, right? They're like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Paintings.
They're paintings. He basically made paintings of it. And he goes on, like, this whole conspiracy thing about how, like, the government group there, I think they're called SALF, something like that. It's big search for,
alien
life forms. And they set up these big satellite dishes around, and he's, like, saying that the satellite dishes are making aliens, like, come there, and it's causing problems. The gang ends up staying there, and then, like,
Shaggy and Scooby get abducted.
Yeah, they get abducted, and then they, like, manage to get away, but then they, like, pass out from fear and wake up in the desert.
Yeah.
And then, like,
they meet Crystal and Amber.
Yeah, they, like, fall in love instantly.
Yeah, really weird.
Which is, like, really weird. And this, like, takes up a good chunk of the movie, too, like, without any actual, like, mystery solving happening yet.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to the plot.
To get that stuff going. But then, like, while, you know, Shaggy and Scooby are spending all their time with this, like, this girl hippie and this other dog.
Fred, Daphne, and Val meet up with a crew of South.
Yeah, meet up with them. And then, like, it turns out, like, ultimately that they're obviously the bad guys.
And then, plot twist, Crystal and Amber are actually aliens.
Yeah, they're actually aliens. For some reason, South was, like, digging in the mine for gold.
Which makes no sense.
Which is, like, classic Scooby-Doo villain motive for something. Is like, we found gold. So,
and then
of
nothing
course,
leads to another...
Yeah, and they end up, like, of course, capturing them, and then the police come, and then...
Crystal and Amber have to leave and go back to their home world.
Yeah, they go back to their home world. And there's, like, this really sad goodbye between all of them.
Yeah, it's...
So, that's pretty much that movie.
Not very memorable.
It's not one of the standout ones, especially if following Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost.
Like, it's one of my favorite ones, but...
It's one of those ones that, like, I remember really liking as a kid, and now I feel, like, obligated to rewatch, because we were doing most of these from, like, our memory of them. And, like we said in the earlier ones, we rewatch Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost fairly often, especially around this time of year. And then the one that comes after that we're going to be doing next week, TFAV watches, you'd say pretty often.
I think I've watched it, like, maybe 3 times this past year.
Yeah, so, like, a decent amount of time, so we'll get to that one when we do. But this one was one of the ones, like, this anomaly where we didn't really see it, and we haven't had much memory of it. We actually were, like, at my campus talking with some of my classmates about it, and they remembered more of the movie than we did. So I think that kind of speaks volumes to the fact that this one just wasn't really that big of, like, an impression leaver.
Doesn't really get a rating.
Like, but we're gonna give it one of our classic ratings. We have to.
I'm just gonna give it, like, 1 out of 5.
You have to put effort into that.
No, it's a 1 out of 5. It's not very memorable.
It looks like a 1 alien out of 5.
I don't know. Crappy movie reviews.
Crappy movie reviews. All right, then I'll give it 1 TFAV out of 3. Not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one was. It's not a bad movie by all means. We're not saying it's bad.
Go watch it, and then you'll understand why it's kinda.
You can tell us what you think, and we'll see you guys next week. I hope, unless something gets us. So stay spoopy, friends.
Later.